Can you see that? Soon as I hit the brake pedal, I get bad misfire. Welcome back to Living with a Classic. We're in my 1975 XJ6. I tried to daily as much as possible. However, in the last video, I told you guys I haven't really daily this thing for a while because it has a couple of issues I want to sort out. We're going to start with that today, starting with the brakes. The brake servo is bad, and I can show you right now actually how I figured that out because it's leaking vacuum, and we have some exhaust issues and other things. But that's really the big thing keeping me from driving this thing because it has really hard brakes right now. I call them very manly brakes because it doesn't really stop at all. But let me show you the attack because I just started up and it's been running for a minute or so. It's about 5,000 RPMs right now, and it's really easy to show the issue. Can you see that? Soon as I hit the brake pedal, I get bad misfire. Revs go down a little bit. Clear the misfire out. You see it's running pretty smoothly there, and the whole car starts shaking. So we definitely have a vacuum leak. Also, sometimes, you know, when I just start a car out and I want to go, put my foot in the brake and then put it in gear, it will, after maneuvering a bit, it can sometimes lean out so much that it will stall. So we definitely have a leak at the servo. And if you have a look at this, I can barely feel any difference from engine on or engine off the servo, so we have very little servo action whatsoever. Since the booster on my car is bad, I've gone through some of my parts, and this one looks pretty good. So we're going to test it if it's good. If not, I have another one. Hopefully we can fix it with a good used one. And the way I'm going to test it is just see if it holds vacuum, because that's the way mine is broken. Is we saw the misfire from the engine, and that definitely means it's sucking air from somewhere, and it also doesn't give any power brakes whatsoever. So just a simple vacuum tester here. Probably going to take a while to pump this up because tiny pump and big vacuum booster. But it's not falling drastically, so that's good. I'm going to pump it up a little bit more, and then we'll leave this for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, and we'll see if it changes a lot. If not, which I hope it's not, then we'll call this good. I will sand it down, strip the paint of it, prime it, and paint it nice gloss black, so at least it looks good when we put it in the car. But, we're almost at that -10 mark. That's inches of mercury. Oh, that was me. There we go, -10. So we'll leave this here, and I'll be back in about 20 minutes, and we'll see how it does. It's been about 20 minutes, and yeah, it's gone down a little bit, but I don't have a perfect seal on everything, and it's definitely holding vacuum pretty well. So I'm gonna clean this thing off, prime it, paint it, take the master cylinder off, then we can get the car in here, remove the other one, put this in, and see if that makes a difference. When it comes to the brake servo, the correct way to remove it is to remove the whole pedal assembly, which really isn't that big of a deal. However, I want to try a thing because I don't feel like re-bleeding the brakes on this car. There were a little bit of a paint bleed in the back because someone has rounded off one of the bleeders. I have to bleed it from the lines, and I finally have good brakes in the back. So I don't want to do that. I just pried off these because I know that there is a pin in here, a clevis pin right there. So that holds the back of the brake booster to the brake pedal, and there's just a split pin in there, and I can pull that out. I think I can just about get tools in there to do that. Then, if you have a look at the brake lines here, they swoop out to here. So if I unclip them from here, I think I can sort of swing the master to the side. It only needs to go out past those there, and I think I should be able to get out. Not sure. Maybe in about 15 minutes we'll decide to take the whole pedal assembly out, but let's give this a shot. That is a split pin, and let's see if we can get the other pin out. Okay, wait, that was the washer, damn it. Okay, there's that, and then I brought a magnet, so hopefully I can get that washer without grappling it. Okay, I dropped it. However, I think once I have the servo out, I'll be able to get that. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to spray some of these down here with some penetrating fluid, let that sit for a little bit, then we'll remove the master and then get the servo. Okay, so the only thing I've done is I sprayed some penetrating fluid on everything. I have these two off here, and I unhooked the lines here, so the master is pretty much loose. And now I'm just going to try and get this off. And if you have been a long-time viewer of the channel, you know that I rebuilt the master cylinder when I got this car back on the road. Was it close to 3 years ago now? And it's done. It's worked really well, except that, recently I lost the brake booster. So I really want to try and not have to rebleed brakes. If that's the case, I'll do it, of course, but I'm trying to make it not happen. What you probably can't see off camera is I have a big plastic container wedged between the exhaust manifold over here and the steering column. I'm going to try and dump this fluid in there when I get these off. Let me see if I can just pour this into my container down here. Okay, that's good. Won't make that much of a mess. Now, I have 4 nuts back here. Let me get those loose, then we'll see if we can wiggle this whole thing out of there with the master still in place. Really starting to get to the moment of truth here. That bolt down there, or the nut that holds the servo on, I had to remove this, which is basically the pivot point for the brake pedal, just so I can get the wrench down there and then I can move this forward. But before I continue, I just want to see if this comes off. And it does. Just gonna lay that down there. So this may actually work. The last nut, and there is a little washer as well. Here we go. Now we're gonna maneuver this whole thing out of here. Or at least that's the plan. I think we'll move the master up to here for now. Oh, please tell me that that's not why it's not coming out. Alright, it is the bonnet catch, but That's very easy to remove. Give me a second, we'll remove that and this should come out. So we have the catch out of the way here, and it should all come out now, I think. I think we've come to the conclusion that this doesn't work. However, I really wanted to try, and the reason is it just fouls here on the inner wing. So I've always wondered if you could do this. You can move the master out of the way. That actually works. So half of my plan worked. However, this part of my plan did not work. But it's rather simple to remove it. It's just a couple bolts here, and we'll get the whole brake pedal out of there, and that should go pretty quickly. I went underneath the dash and I loosened the whole pedal assembly, and there we go. I can get this out. So you may be wondering why I'm doing it this way. Well, a couple of reasons. I always want to try something new, see if it works or not, and this is the perfect time to try it. And I didn't feel like touching this pedal assembly, just because I know if I do, it's a pain down there. I've already removed 2 servos this week from other cars, one from the XJ6 parts car for a future project, and on the X-Type. So my back wasn't really up to being underneath the dash, but I had to do that anyways. However, I've never done a servo on an XJ6, and well, reading the manual, I thought this seemed unnecessary, and maybe it's not, but the thing is, I've loosened everything. 4 bolts up here, 1 bolt there, and 1 nut. I can't get it to come out. I'll show you guys. There's a thing here which is in the way, an electrical connection. So I cannot actually see how you're supposed to get this out. But we'll have a look at that. Let me show you over here. So down here is that big electrical block. And you see, this is underneath there. So I can't get that out. Very, very strange. I'm going to try a little bit longer. I also want to clean up around here. I would like to get this out, because then if I put it back, I can put some silicone around it, because it was quite a lot of surface rust on the other side here. So this could be a source of water leaking into the cabin, and I want to fix that if that is the case. So let me struggle with this a little bit longer, see if I can get it out, because I don't feel like, you know, let's disconnect those two. It's not going to help because the connectors are still down there. So yeah, let me try and figure this out a little longer. I've gone through several different manuals just to have a look at this, and I think something's being modified on my car. I think that's the issue, because on the left-hand drive car it's supposed to be 6 bolts. I had 5 bolts, plus down in the corner I had a stud going down, and because it's a stud, that's why I can't get it out. And to get this out, I mean, I need to go really deep under the dash. I'm not doing that. So that seems to be the case. So I think what I'll do is I'll clean up the space. There's some aluminum corrosion around here. I'll clean everything up as best as I can. And then I'll put some RTV between here, or I put together, and just that will keep, I mean, there's not supposed to be water down here, but water can come down here, of course. And that is an easy way for it to get into the cabin. So I will do that, but it is loose enough that I can get the new servo in place. I'll put a thin little towel in between there so we don't scrape it, and then we can get that into place. But this little trick seems to be working at least. I got most of this in place now. Got sealant around the base of the whole pedal assembly, because I think I had a water leak down there. And I think the reason is this is a bad seal here, so I'm going to get a new one of those ordered up. And also get one that goes around the corner, because I think here on the corner water can build up, especially if it's raining a lot or if there's snow and stuff, and it will drip down right there. And that's why I sometimes get wet feet in this car. But time to get the master on. I'm just going to put a little bit of grease right in here, because it's metal in there. That will just put a little bit more. That will just, you know, make that not wear out. There we go. And now time to get the master on. Doesn't really want to. It's like the studs are bent out a little bit. Let's see if we can persuade it on. There we go. That's in place. I just have those bolts left to do. I have that fitting up there, this up here, and the hood latch back on. So I will finish up all of this, and we'll put some brake fluid in it, start it up, see what it feels like, and go for a test drive. A couple minutes later, everything is back in place. Master is there. All the lines are back on. I filled up with fluid again. But because we never got any air down here, I don't need to bleed it again. It's just a little air that's up here has, of course, gone up into there. The wetness you see here is just a pour some water here because I dropped a little bit of brake fluid just to get that away. And everything is basically ready for a test drive. I'm going to connect up the battery, then we'll fire it up, see how the brake pedal feels, if it still makes the engine sort of misfire, and then we'll go for a drive. So let's see what happens. Hit the brake. No change in engine whatsoever. That's really good. Let's go for a test drive and see if the brakes are a bit better. So far from just maneuvering it sort of around my yard, it's a lot smoother, especially when I change from reverse to drive. It's not misfiring like it is when you hold your foot on the brake. So that is at least a good thing. I definitely think the other thing was the source of the vacuum leak. I haven't tested it, but I mean, it was pretty obvious. When the car was really cold and on full choke and it needed all the fuel it can get, when I introduced a vacuum leak like that, it would start missing. But I'm going to just take a quick little drive here and oh yes, those are a lot better. Those are brakes. Because before it was just like, you know, the pedal was just, it was like hitting a brick wall. But now it actually goes down a bit like it's supposed to and really does stop. But we'll drive a little bit longer, let this thing actually get up to temperature, and we'll see how it does. Driven about 6 kilometers so far, and I've tried the brakes a few times. They're very good. I can show you up here, we're going about 40 kilometers an hour. And yeah, the wheels lock up. I could never do that before, and that was me really slamming on them. So that's really good. So that has brought back the confidence in driving this thing as a daily driver. There's nothing worse than having bad brakes. And an XJ Jag really does have good brakes. Everything is sorted and working well. They're very good brakes. Yes, it doesn't have ABS and all that, but I have inbuilt ABS, you know, in my leg. Hit the brake pedal like that and you're fine. So, you know, normally I would never brake like that to fully lock them on because that's not the best way to stop. But just want to prove that I could. So that is one thing fixed on the list of making this a reliable daily. Again, this is the most important thing, the brakes. The other one is we have a slightly damaged coolant hose. It's not leaking or anything, but it's just slightly damaged. Gonna replace that. The wipers don't want to park, and I have a different wiper motor. We're gonna try that. And a couple other things. I think I have a ball joint going out on one side and a few more, you know, things to do. But that will be in future videos. Anyways, if you like this video, please give a thumbs up and share it with friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Until next time, I'm Adam. This was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.